Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Jake Asman.
Right back to offense. Go the Colts. Wow. Taylor's gone. Jonathan Taylor. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. As he crossed the tape at the goal line. 78 yards. And this is a nightmare for the Jets.
Joe Buck, that was exactly that. A nightmare if you root for the New York Jets like I do. Look, I've been a Jet fan a long time. Not as long as those who actually saw this team win a Super Bowl with Joe Willie Namath at QB. But that was one of the worst defensive performances I could remember by a Jets defense. And 2 weeks before that game on Thursday, they just gave up 54 points to Mac Jones. And this was worse. This was somehow worse. It's unbelievable what we watched. I mean, the Jets went out there in this game, and at one point, they were down 42-10 midway through the third quarter. Yes, they made it closer. Yes, they almost had the greatest of backdoor covers we've seen in a long time had they scored on that last drive. But this was pathetic, folks. The Jets allowed 500-plus yards in a game for the second time in 3 weeks. The defense is broken right now. Broken. And to make matters worse, Mike White, who gave us an incredible, unexpected, heroic moment last Sunday against the Bengals, he gets hurt after he throws a touchdown pass in this game 7-7. You're thinking, wow, do we have something here? Can we watch more of Mike White? But then Josh Johnson has to come in, and it took him a little bit to get going. And because the Jets defense, to quote the great Bart Scott, could not stop a nosebleed, didn't have a chance in this game on Thursday, which was just infuriating. Infuriating. Robert Saleh is a defensive coach. His defense has been bad 2 of the last 3 weeks. Even against the Bengals, they still allowed 30 points. The irony of the Jets being led by their offense now and their defense not being able to do anything is unbelievable. Back-to-back 30-point games for a Jets offense with backup quarterbacks, without their number one wide receiver as well in Corey Davis. We'll get to what they should do at quarterback because I have a take on the Jets quarterback situation, but I'm not letting the Jets defense off the hook. Look, the Colts have a lot of talent. Jonathan Taylor, you heard the cut there coming back from the break. He's a really good running back. Carson Wentz, when he doesn't turn the ball over, has shown you he's an effective quarterback. But my God, did the Colts even punt in this game? Just a joke. Just a joke, especially when the Colts played an overtime game against the Titans on Sunday. They should have been gassed. But nope, right down the field. The Jets' defensive line, which is supposed to be a strength, was absolutely dominated up front. A joke. They got to fix this defense, man. It's not like it gets any easier. Josh Allen and the Bills come to MetLife on Sunday. This was Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach, on his defense sucking.
Obviously, it wasn't good enough, especially when a team runs the ball the way they did. We knew that running, they were going to try to get their run game started, especially with the way they'd been talking all week, trying to get 28 going again. They've got an unbelievable offensive line, and obviously we weren't up for the task.
Yeah, your defense stunk, Robert Saleh. Your defense was horrendous. And look, he needs more time, just like any other first-year coach does, but I mean, all I know about Robert Saleh so far is this. They had 2 weeks to prepare for the New England game. They gave up 54 points to a team they already saw off a bye. That's a bad early signing for if you're a head coach. Then, all right, you have this great win against the Bengals. Awesome to see. You're thinking this team turned the corner. They bowed after the New England game. Something like what we saw on defense would never happen again going forward. It took 2 games, and we saw the same thing, only worse. Like the Colts took their foot off the gas in the second half. They had 500 yards of offense, it felt like, in the third quarter. That was bad. Real bad. I'm not out on Robert Saleh. He obviously needs way more time. He's taking over a team that was god-awful last year. But my God, that is puzzling to see how poor the Jets defense played Thursday night against the Colts. Now, as far as the quarterback situation, because that's the big topic in New York City sports radio. It's a big topic here on my show. It's a big topic nationally. What should the Jets do at quarterback? And to me, there's a couple ways they could approach it if you're the Jets. If Zach Wilson's healthy, like 100% healthy, do you start him if you're the Jets? I think I probably would, as crazy as that sounds. I don't care if he's playing the Bills. Oh, well, Jake, you're throwing him to the Wolves or the Bills defense. If he's ever going to be the guy for the Jets, he's going to face the Bills twice a year. He sat out these last 2 games. He has watched the lens of the offense operate through 2 different quarterbacks. Mike LaFleur moving up to the coach's booth has changed everything for this Jets team. So I think if Zach's healthy, I'd play him if he's 100% healthy. He's going to probably practice this week. He was warming up before the game on Thursday. They didn't place him on IR for a reason because that would mean he'd miss a minimum of 3 games. Well, now he's missed 2. So if he's healthy, I think he should start, especially if Mike White might not be 100% either. But if he's not healthy, if he's not 100%, I don't see why there's any harm in giving Mike White another start. He looked good. Before he got hurt, the Jets were humming. Tied the game up at 7. He wasn't perfect, but he looked good. There was one throw he made to Keelan Cole that was behind him. Cole made a nice play. There was a trick play that should have led to a pick, and it didn't happen. There were some moments there from Mike White where you said, all right, did some good things. He also got away with a couple of things. That's okay. He's making his second ever start. What's just infuriating as a Jet fan is that this guy gets hurt. Like, of course he gets hurt. Like, if he's going to be bad, let him be bad. If he's going to be good, let him be good. But why does the injury bug have to come in now when a kid's finally getting the opportunity to go out there and play? Like, that sucked if you're a fan of the Jets like I am, unfortunately. But I think it's pretty simple. If Zach Wilson's 100% healthy, he's your future. The fact that Mike White had the performance that he did on Sunday against the Bengals and Josh Johnson had the performance that he did relieving Mike White on Thursday against the Colts, I believe should give the Jet fan optimism that Mike LaFleur, the OC, is not a dunce, that he's pretty good. The play calling has been so drastically different than anything we saw the first 6 games of the year. I think Zach Wilson will be much better benefiting from LaFleur being up in the booth. Zach's personal quarterback coach, John Beck, was hired this week. Like, I think if Zach Wilson gets a chance to see how well this offense operated by throwing to the check down route, not trying to do too much, I think those performances will push Zach to be better. I'm expecting a different Zach Wilson when he comes back and plays. The thing to note with Mike White, he's not a rookie. He's been in the league for 5 years. Josh Johnson was playing football when they still had leather helmets. He's been in the league that long, right? So it's not the worst thing in the world for Zach to have been sitting these 2 games. So I'm all about playing Zach Wilson because the reality is he's the 2nd overall pick in the draft. You guaranteed him $35 million. And it's not like this whole season for Zach Wilson hasn't been good. He's flashed. He's shown you signs of being a good quarterback. He was the AFC Rookie of the Week when they beat the Titans. But I think he gets a chance now to see how this offense was run. So if he's healthy, I would play him. There's 9 games left. He needs all the reps imaginable so he can continue to get better. The only way you get better is by playing. Now, if they hold him out for another week, I'm okay with that. Even if Zach, let's say, is 100% healthy, if they want to give Mike White another start against the Bills, I'm okay with that as well. I would play Zach if he's healthy, though. You got a home game against the Bills. The Jets have been better at home this year than they are on the road. 2-1 at home, 0-5 on the road, which is what you normally see with a pretty young team. The Jets have the youngest roster in the NFL. They lead the NFL in rookies playing time. So the good news is the Jets have 6 home games left. 3 of them are on the road. One of them's here in Houston. I look forward to being there. There might not be any Texans fans left at that point. It might only be Jet fans going to that game. But the point is, if Wilson's healthy, he's got to play. If he's not 100% healthy, and you don't want to, quote, throw him out to the wolves of the Bills, all right, if Mike White could play, play him. What is not an option here, though, is Josh Johnson. What is not an option here is Joe Flacco, which, by the day, that trade just looks so stupid. Because here's all you need to know, though. The Jets don't make that Joe Flacco trade if they thought Josh Johnson was capable of doing what he just did on Thursday. If they knew that Mike White was capable of doing what he did on Sunday against Cincinnati. That's a fact. So it's only a 6th-round pick. It is what it is. Wouldn't surprise me if they just cut Flacco, honestly. I mean, you can't cut Josh Johnson. What would that send the message to the locker room? The guy took advantage of his opportunity and played great. So I don't think the situation is as complicated as some maybe want to make it seem. If Zach Wilson's healthy, he's your guy long-term. If you want to give him another week, okay, fine. If you say, well, Mike White's played well enough to get another start. Yeah, you know what? I think he has. But Zach Wilson's your future to me, not Mike White. And maybe Mike White will end up being really good and Dare to dream, Jet fans. It's Tom Brady all over again. And I guess Zach Wilson would play the Drew Bledsoe role in this scenario. Odds of that happening, I'd say pretty low, to quote the immortal Larry David. But the reality is you don't need to rush Zach Wilson back. That's my overarching takeaway. If you're the Jets, what's the rush to putting Zach Wilson back out there unless he's 100% healthy? But the idea that Zach Wilson is already a bust after 6 games at the age of 22 is nonsense. He's going to benefit from sitting out for a couple games. He's going to benefit from watching how this offense operated without him having to do too much. These are all good things for the Jets, not bad things. Even Sam Darnold, who is not any good, got hurt his rookie year, sat for 4 games. Josh McCown came back and played. Then Sam came back and led the NFL in passer rate in the last 4 or 5 games of his rookie year. That's what got Jet fans so excited about Sam going into year 2. I think if we could see something similar from Zach, he has shown you he can make all the throws. He has shown you his arm strength, his accuracy on the deep ball, his ability to escape pressure. It's all traits that made him the 2nd pick in the draft. He has struggled with checking the ball down, the easy stuff. As Robert Saleh would say, the boring stuff. Boring can be fun. Mike White threw for 406 yards. His longest pass completion was 26 yards. Boring can be fun. The offense that the Patriots run for Mac Jones is allowing him to complete 70% of his passes and not lose games for New England and be, a stabilizing force in that offense. You could do that with Zach Wilson. Even Patrick Mahomes is having some trouble with that this year, trying to do too much because he knows his defense is terrible. I think Zach Wilson will benefit from watching these last 2 games. And if he needs to sit for 1 more game, I'm okay with it. If Mike White goes out there and balls out and plays great against the Bills, I will worry about that then. I think if you're the Jets, you take it on a week-by-week basis. But if Zach's healthy, he's your long-term guy. You use the 2nd overall pick on the dude. You got to let him play and develop. Mike White's not having his performance if he was a rookie thrust in there like Zach has been from the beginning of the season. Josh Johnson, I made the joke, he's played when leather helmets were around in the NFL. He's in his 14th year. Those guys played within the structure of the offense. Honestly, if you want a good, positive Jet takeaway, Mike LaFleur, he looks like an unbelievable play caller since he moved up to the booth. The aggressiveness, the trickery, it was all things we just had not seen the first 6 games. Give Zach Wilson a chance. I think he's going to benefit the same way Mike White and then Josh Johnson did from the LaFleur play calling. Agree or disagree? 800-224-2004 is the number. You could tweet me your thoughts as well. I'm on Twitter at Jake Asman. We'll talk more about this quarterback situation throughout the program today. But coming up, let's talk some basketball. You see the Knicks last night? Oh, I'm like a proud fan. The Knicks were down 21 points to the defending champs on the road. And they came back and they won the game. They didn't just win the game. They blew out the Bucks. We'll talk about the Knicks and the rest of the NBA's Eastern Conference coming up next right here on the Jake Asman Show, coast to coast on Sports Map Radio.
Pharrell.
Coast to coast.